In the process of making a documentary, you hear a lot about, finding the story, and as you sort of peel back an onion, you're discovering layers to a story that you didn't expect to encounter. In this case, Jim, you lived it, so I would imagine, had a pretty good idea of what the story was going to be before you started. But as you were making this thing, how did it turn out, and how did your expectations of the story compare to the story as it ended up? Were you surprised at all as you went and started to uncover some footage at some of the events that you had forgotten about or didn't know about?
There's a lot of ways to answer that question. I had an initial idea that I pitched to Nicole, that I thought there was some history here that shouldn't be lost, of these people basically migrating from New York out to the Bay Area, and how the camp might have affected that and such. But it was really Nicole who really could see beyond my headlights about what this film could be. And we worked it was the best collaboration I'll ever have in my life. And it was, but this is my first time directing a film. Nicole's got 25 years of experience. I think that she's a great filmmaker, and I wanted her to direct this thing, and maybe I would produce or just be an advisor on it. And very early on, she said, well, I think we should direct this together, which I was game for, but also didn't take, lightly. It was a really wonderful offer, and it was like the first of many, many really great decisions.
Well, and your access to all the characters in the film, though, that's super valuable, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the story definitely did. When I started looking at it and reading about it, we started writing treatments that had the same general shape that the film has now, but we thought there was going to be a lot more current day exploration of people's lives today. And what I think one of the things that we discovered was that the footage at camp was so powerful, and the footage we were eventually able to find, which we didn't know until years went by and literally like a year of editing happened, that the history was going to be able to become kind of the present tense of the film instead of being the flashback. That wasn't clear to us at the beginning. And what kept happening is that we would have test screenings and people would just be like, don't take me off that, roller coaster ride of history. Like when I'm cutting back to people's, like they loved the characters and they were interested to know what had happened to them, but they didn't want to land in a scene today, because it was almost painful because the history was so exciting. And I don't think that we quite realized exactly how kind of seminal a history film we were making. I think we thought, because there'd been a previous documentary about, the 504 sit-in and the disability rights movement. There'd been kind of like historical documentaries about it. But I think that what we were able to eventually do, all of us working together, is make something really drops you in the middle of it from the perspective of characters you love and takes you through in a really exciting way. And that that was something that became clear to us as we went along. The thing that was really challenging was that what we had initially wanted to do, and we ended up doing, was land you in the camp, but not give away the movement piece of it. Let you just completely immerse yourself in the camp and get to know people and follow them around and get to feel like, without it being really explicit, but, kind of taking the verite footage and sort of architecting an emotional journey for all the characters, where you kind of feel that sense of them becoming a community and bonding and trusting each other and all of that. And then you get to see that play out later in the movement piece. But we started to get a lot of pressure from people who weren't sure that we were going to be able to make it work, that we should actually, start with the ADA signing and the end of the victory of the movement and then flash back. So everybody kind of knew where we were going and why they would want to spend so much time in the camp. And we really felt strongly that the power of the film was kind of in discovering that as you went forward. Like, oh my gosh, you know, my buddies that I met at Camp Jeanette are now changing the world. And that was, it was hard to get that right. But luckily we had our team of editors who were brilliant. And we all just dedicated ourselves to kind of like figuring out how to make that work. And I feel really grateful for that, you know, that we all felt so passionately about that being the right way to move forward, and that we eventually achieved it. It was hard.